load up a clip here. You can actually mark in and out. Okay, click on the motion effect editor right here. It brings up a little dialog box, and you can actually adjust this however you would like. So if the frame rate is 24 frames per second, you can see we are making this almost twice as fast. So say if we wanted to make it 200%, we're going to double the speed. When you create any type of effects like this, or you render anything, then make sure it's going to the proper work state of the work drive. So for example, I'm working off my Avid Work. So whenever you are doing anything and rendering, creating effects, anything like that, make sure it's going to the proper drive. So you always want to make sure that effects, any type of motion effects, graphics, rendering is all done on the same drive. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create and render. So if you notice over here, I want to make from this mark in to this mark out slow. So I'm going to hit create and render. It's going to ask me what bin I want to put it in. Takes a few seconds. Look over here in your bin, you'll see it up here. It's got a little motion effect. It actually creates a new clip. It also loads it up automatically. When I play it, it should be twice the speed. Another thing that you can do is you can actually make a still frame. So go to Composer, Freeze Frame, and select how long you would like your still clip to be. If you want it longer than a minute, you can actually make it longer if you need to. So I'm only going to make it about 5 seconds. Again, pick the drive, hit OK, hit your bin that you want it to go into. It creates a separate clip and loads it up for you directly into your monitor. If you look into your bin, you can actually see your motion effects. So this one is double the speed. This one up here is your still frame, it says FF for freeze frame. Another thing that you can do, it's a cool little tool, it's called Fit to Fill. You can actually find it if you go up to Tools and your command palette. Under the Edit tab, you can see the Fit to Fill. It looks like a double arrow. And I have already put it into my work interface, which is right here. If you don't have it, find an empty location on this bar right here and put Fit to Fill right in there. So what does Fit to Fill do? It allows you to insert a motion effect the same exact time as your clip. What I want to do is I'm going to replace this with a motion effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my mark clip, sets an in and out point at the beginning and at the end of the clip. On this side, set your mark in and mark out for the duration you want this clip to be. It's going to take this and consolidate it down so it's going to fit into this space. So I'm going to hit Fit to Fill. It's going to ask me, because it's actually going to create a clip for you, going to ask me which bin to put it in. Going to create it, then it automatically inserts it into the timeline for you, which is pretty cool. So you can actually use Fit to fill any type of clip with a motion effect. If you go to your effect palette and you come into your time warp effect, right down here, there's all different types of things that you can use. We're going to focus on two of them, the trim to fill and then the time warp. Once you put a trim to fill in there and you go into your trim mode, you can actually extend or shrink the step-on roof. So as I shrink it down like this, it's either going to speed it up or slow it down. So you can see how it sped it up, because what I did was I kind of consolidated the video. Okay, I made it shorter. If I make it longer, should slow it down. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer so you can see how it's now slower. It's a really cool and simple way to make some fast or slow motion video. The trim to fill right into your trim mode. Finally, we're going to go into the time warp. So I'm going to put the time warp on. I'm going to go into my effect editor. This gives you a little bit more control over the speed of your video. I go into my effect editor, click on these two graphs to make them open. In order to do any type of motion effect, you have to give yourself an anchor point. So say I wanted to start, I'm going to play it, right here, and I want it normal speed. And then I'm going to put an anchor point right there. And then I'm going to put a keyframe at the end. And now I can actually adjust the speed. You come under 100, it's going to slow it down. You go above 100, it's going to speed it up. So now when I play that clip, should start regular and speed up. So finally, there's a few different ways that you can actually go in and out of your keyframes. By right-clicking on your keyframe, you're going to see a few different options: shelf, linear, spline, and Bezier. If you click on shelf, so when I play this, watch the difference. So it's going to come up, he's going to speed up, and it's going to stay sped up. If I click on spline, it's going to give me more of an ease in and ease out of my keyframes. If I click on linear, it's more of a direct path. And finally, the Bezier. What this does is it creates a natural ease in and ease out between keyframes that can be adjusted. All right, so if you notice, the spline, you can't adjust it, but here I can actually turn this and adjust how I want it to ease in and ease out. So a lot of cool things that you can do with motion effects. That's all for this chapter. Leon out.